So, Dad, tell me about my namesake, Mary Louise.
My father did it best in a sports scene column he wrote for the Dallas Morning News. Right after he got the word that she passed away, he wrote his remembrances about her. He writes, "No one really ever is prepared for the death of one he loves. Nani somehow seemed indestructible, and the stumbling words heard through the telephone were incredible. Your wife's mother died today." The baseball training camps of Florida, where reporters concern themselves with the rise and fall of young men still in the bloom of their lives, now are far behind. Suddenly, the task changes. The dreaded time has come. Age has taken its toll, and now Nani is gone. Nani was not Mary Louise Brammer, but no one knew her for long without being informed that although her surname was German, it was incidental. She didn't mean that as a reflection upon the ancestry of her late husband. She merely meant to point out that only the red blood of Irish coursed through her veins. "My maiden name was Carroll," she'd say, drawing herself proudly erect, "and that's just as Irish as Paddy's pig." Nani was full of the Irish wit, the Irish superstitions, and the adeptness of the Irish at coining unusual phrases and similes. When her daughter remonstrated with her one day because she was spoiling the younger heir to the family debts, she pouted, "I'm like a little boy the calf ran over. I have nothing to say." When she grew depressed, she was likely to remark, "The world's not a fit place to live in. I can't commit suicide. My religion won't let me. But I can do the next best thing. I'll build me a house on top of a high hill with a dirt road leading to it. Then I'll water the road every day so nobody can get up there." Nani sprang from a long line of Irish Catholics, and as the SMU Notre Dame game of 1949 approached, she couldn't resist the football fever, although she knew relatively little about the sport. She came up from her Houston home to Dallas just to see the game. She dismissed all suggestions that SMU might give the Fighting Irish a respectable battle. SMU was a 4-touchdown underdog at the time. Don't worry about Notre Dame," she'd say. "The Lord will take care of those boys. Why, they're as safe as if they were in God's pocket." She went to the game with her son Mike and cheered loudly when Notre Dame took the lead, but as SMU rallied time and again, she grew progressively silent. Finally, when the Methodists tied up the game at 20-20, she turned to her son and said, "Mike, have you got a quick drink of poison?" Notre Dame won the game 27-20, but Nani did no crowing of the rest of her visit. It was one of the few times her confidence in anything Irish was shaken. Her enthusiasm returned, however, as it always did, and once more she was dropping daily proverbs by the dozen. "The divil you know is better than the divil you don't know," she'd suggest which was her way of suggesting we should be satisfied with what we had. And instead of saying we shouldn't cross bridges before we got to them, she'd advise, "Never bid the divil good morning until you meet him at your front door." As her body weakened from the ravages of chronic leukemia and asthma, Nani was brought to Dallas to live. But she never quite reconciled herself to her absence from Houston, and she bragged steadily on that South Texas metropolis. Dallas, by comparison, was a pipsqueak of a place. In fact, Houston had no faults. The only weaklings complained about Houston's humidity. The Houston Buffs were baseball's finest team, and when the Houston's Rice Institute lost the most recent Cotton Bowl game, well, it took the U.S. Navy to do it, didn't it? Nani had descriptions all her own. She called a tasty meal a good bite. She said her son coughed so loud he hollers. Although she was a lifelong Democrat, she couldn't stomach Harry Truman. Looking at a picture of him one day, she noted that his thick glasses gave him somewhat the appearance of a Siamese cat. After that, every time she mentioned Harry Truman, she referred to him as old pussy face. She described a stockily built woman one day as a Mullingar heifer, beef to the heel. One day she told of a kind deed performed by a woman who usually displayed a heart of stone and the attitude of a chameleon. "You know," she said, "I was right surprised at that. It was a nice thing for her to do. Bless her old two-faced heart." Nani once was wealthy, but after her husband's death, he Her lack of business acumen caused her to lose everything she had, her wealth, her home, her automobiles, everything but her fierce pride and her faith in God. Some years after she became a widow, she acquired, through the execution of a partial judgment, obtained against one of her late husband's partners, a large tract of land near Corpus Christi. The land wasn't good for crops, nor for grazing. Some, perhaps most, all of it was submarginal. But there was oil and gas activity in the area, and she never lost her hope that she'd be rich again. Some people want their ship to come in, she said. Mine won't be a ship, it will be an oil well. And she described the life of luxury she was going to lead. I'm going to get me a fast